Sorry it's late, but I've literally edited a whole video and found out after it's rendered that my face freezes in terrible, awkward positions. And although that would have been funny for you guys, I wanted to get something a little bit more professional up for you. Hello, hope you're having a great Monday. I'm currently not, but that is beyond the point. What is up, guys, and welcome to FPL Today and Gameweek 11's team selection video, where we try and talk about how I did in Gameweek 10, what I'm going to do in Gameweek 11, and hopefully help you guys out on your FPL journey to the best rank possible. But before we get into the video, if you enjoy the content here on FPL Today, please do hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that bell for FPL. You guys have been absolutely smashing it recently, so thank you guys so much for the support, and let's get on with the video. So we start off with the players that actually did something for me in Gameweek 10 so far. And truth of the matter is, we do have 4 players still to play, but 4 players have also turned up and got some decent scores in for us. We've only got 2 double-digit hauls, and they're literally just double-digit hauls, with De Bruyne and Fernandes both getting 10 points each. De Bruyne part of that massive victory against Burnley. Another 5-0 for Man City at home against Burnley. They do like that result against this opposition. And then Bruno Fernandes being part of a great second half for Man United, where they were 2-0 down at half-time, and then Edison Cavani came on, and he and Bruno Fernandes definitely had a big part to play in Man United's 3-2 victory in that game. So good results from both of these guys. They could have been captaincy shouts for me, but we've gone with someone else who hasn't yet played. And then we also have Podence in midfield getting a goal against Arsenal in their 2-1 victory in that game. Also, thoughts and prayers go out to Raul Jimenez. I believe he is okay after the head collision with David Luiz, but fingers crossed for him that there's nothing serious there, and he'll be back in a Wolves shirt very soon. And then, of course, Chilwell also getting a clean sheet in that Tottenham versus Chelsea game, which I think a lot of people thought there'd be goals in, but it turned out to be a 0-0 draw. So very happy with Chilwell, although he is owned by a lot of people, because he was the obvious person to bring in for Trent Alexander-Arnold. Then the players that didn't do too well, and unfortunately Bamford and Calvert-Lewin are in this list. Calvert-Lewin has been very consistent all season, but couldn't get on the score sheet against Leeds. And although Leeds had plenty of chances and did score, Bamford wasn't part of it, and ever since I brought Bamford in, he's still been getting the opportunities, but just hasn't been putting them away, which is kind of what I was worried about pre-season with him. So hopefully, now that I brought him in, he's not turned into the player I thought he was. And then Kilman, who I did bring in for a hit, and unfortunate as that is, he only played about 12 minutes in that Arsenal game. He's actually played 90 minutes in every game since game week 4, and then as soon as I bring him in to replace Mitchell, who hadn't been playing, he doesn't start either, which is very unfortunate. Means I didn't need to take the hit, although he did score more points than Taylor and Lamptey, so I suppose it still worked out just. But either way, a hit for a player that gets 1 point isn't exactly what you're aiming for, but it is what it is, and hopefully he returns to the starting lineup soon. Then the players that we have that have yet to play and are playing tonight, we have Martinez and Grealish, who both have West Ham away, and of course Cresswell, who has Aston Villa at home. Now, hopefully this will be a clean sheet until 60 minutes. Cresswell and Martinez will come off to secure that clean sheet, and then Grealish can go absolutely mad after they've both been substituted off. But either way, hopeful of points from this game. Just there is the unfortunate circumstance of them playing each other. And then the captain, Jamie Vardy, against Fulham. Now, I'm disappointed I didn't target Fulham with Dominic Calvert-Lewin last game week. So this game week, I've done exactly that, bringing Vardy in for Timo Werner, which has paid off for at least this game week, because Timo Werner didn't score. So Jamie Vardy, just one return will be enough, but I'm hoping for a brace or a hat-trick. Looking at the bench, Taylor Lamptey did pretty much nothing. Lamptey, of course, with a red card, so he didn't play in this game week, and Taylor being victim to that 5-0 beating by Man City. And then Burke actually playing and getting 2 points, which is a surprise because he's pretty much been stinking up the bench ever since I brought him in. So it's a bit unfortunate for him that his appearance has come a bit too late, because potentially we could be looking at upgrading in that area. So for Game Week 10, at the moment, we are looking at Game Week points of 42, with a -4 down to 38, unfortunately. The Game Week average is 34, and this was taken off of livefpl.net at the time that I made these graphics, which was yesterday when I also recorded the video, which didn't work, so now I'm re-recording. So this might be slightly off, but live FPL net is usually quite close. Overall points is now at 570 with an overall rank at 750k, or just over that, with another 726 positions. But still, with a good score on Monday night, we could see a nice rise in rank. So in this part of the show, we move on to the player at risk, and at the moment it is Ollie Burke. He has Leicester City at home next fixture, which I don't expect much coming from that game. But the big worries about him are the minutes played. He's been pretty much not turning up at all in that Sheffield United lineup until this game week, and even then I'm not confident in any of my bench options being from Sheffield United. Depending on my strategy, I do have money to improve this position. Now I could spend all the money I've got to improve a position on Podence, depending on who I go for, but also I could use it on Burke and then maybe put Podence down to someone like Souček in the future. Now, before we move on to my team selection for Game Week 11, if you want access to all the stats and data that I use on FPL Today and other things like fixture tickers and articles for the Fantasy Premier League game and other fantasy football games, please do consider checking out Fantasy Football Hub. All the data on FPL Today is taken from the Fantasy Football Hub, with tools such as player comparison to choose the best players out of two options, Opta-Stats tables to see who could be hitting form soon and who will be amongst the goals, and a fixture ticker so you know who has not just the form but also the fixtures to match, and so much more like articles and coverage of other fantasy football games. Ask yourself why you haven't joined the Fantasy Football Hub. It's just £2 a month to unlock your FPL potential. So guys, top link in the description down below will take you to Fantasy Football Hub. If you sign up with that link, it does help out the channel massively. And also, I believe they have a 25% off sale at the moment, so go check that out and help yourself improve your FPL rank. So moving on to my Game Week 11 team selection, we start off as always with the goalkeeper and defence, and the main man between the sticks is still going to be Martinez, especially with Newcastle at home. Potentially, if I was ever going to change his position, right now McCarthy looks like the only other option to me personally, purely because even though they did concede 3 against Manchester United, McCarthy and that Southampton defence have looked decent. And to be honest, every time they get a clean sheet, it does hurt my rank just a little bit. And also we have in defence Chilwell with Leeds at home. So we're hopeful of a clean sheet in this one, although we know Leeds are going to create a lot of chances. But it's not like they've been scoring as freely as they've been creating chances. We also have Cresswell with Man United at home. This could go either way. Man United are a side that you never know which version of them is going to turn up. And West Ham have surprisingly done well against nearly all opposition so far this season. And Cresswell is definitely capable of some attacking returns as well. We then have Kilman at the moment in the starting 11, although this is a bit of a concern and we'll discuss that when we look at my bench. But the fact that he didn't play the full 90 minutes, in fact he didn't even play 60 minutes or get into the starting lineup is really a concern to me right now, especially as I've just brought him in on a -4, which is very disappointing. But defensively, at least we've got players now that are generally starting apart from Kilman, which was the one that was meant to make all of my defence start. Moving on to the midfield, and I'm going to put my hat on my captain right now and say I'll be very surprised if I don't choose Kevin De Bruyne as my captain with Fulham at home next game week. Now, yes, I'm targeting Fulham again, and after seeing Man City beat Burnley 5-0, I don't see why Fulham would fare much better, although they might not concede as many goals, of course, but still, Fulham's defence does not look that sharp. Man City finally creating chances and scoring goals. So very hopeful for a good score from Kevin De Bruyne in this one. We have Bruno Fernandes as well with West Ham away. Again, this could go either way, but Bruno Fernandes has been very, very consistent and has outscored Salah ever since he's joined the Premier League. And it's an away game, and Fernandes seems to prefer away games for some reason. So very hopeful for a good haul from him. Then we have Podence with Liverpool away. Podence seems to do well against bigger teams, so hopefully he'll get something in this one. And then Grealish at Newcastle at home, like Martinez. We're hoping for a big score from Grealish because he has looked good in every game, but he doesn't always convert that into FPL points, which at first wasn't a worry for me. But if this continues for too long, it will be of slight concern. We then move on to the forwards, and we're sticking with the front three of Bamford, Calvert-Lewin and Vardy. Bamford with Chelsea away. Chelsea have a good defence. currently, but we're hopeful that Leeds will create the same amount of chances and Bamford could actually get on the end of some of them. Calvert-Lewin also disappointing last game week, but with Burnley away, he has only not returned twice in 10 game weeks, so I can't really complain about Calvert-Lewin. He's going nowhere for now. And then, of course, Jamie Vardy against Sheffield United away, an outside captaincy shout, because he does seem to like scoring against Sheffield United, and hopefully we can get some more points from him after a successful Monday night. Fingers crossed. Looking at my bench, the options that could come in for Kilman are Taylor against Everton at home and Lamptey against Southampton at home. Now, to be honest, I'm not confident of clean sheets in any of these fixtures, so it's going to be a difficult call for me here, but maybe Taylor would come in, and I hope that Everton still can't find the back of the net, because I don't believe Southampton won't score, and I don't believe necessarily that Liverpool won't score either. So there's going to be a tough call for me in this. Maybe a transfer could be used in defence, but I'm leaning more towards changing Burke or Podence in midfield. So moving on to the potential transfers and the transfers that could come in for Burke or Podence. And we're looking at, first of all, Diogo Jota at 6.8 million with Wolves at home in the next fixture. Now, yes, there's concern over rotation here, but if we're serious with ourselves, Diogo Jota has almost played his way into that starting 11, and with the amount of matches coming up, there's going to be rotation for not just Jota, but Salah, Mane and Firmino as well. So I'm thinking if they're going to be rotated anyway, I might as well have Jota in as well. That way I should have Jota and at least Salah and Mane in a Liverpool fixture. And I think there's going to be lots of rotation this Christmas anyway, more so than usual, because of the amount of fixtures and how thick and fast they're all coming and the amount of injuries that are currently happening. If we have a look at the stats are great, especially for someone that doesn't always start, but 4 goals from 13 shots, 7 on target, 10 from inside the box, and 4 big chances with expected goals at 2.39. He isn't as creative, but still has 4 key passes with 2 big chances created and expected assists at 1.29. 6.8 million for a Liverpool attacking player. That is on form. Is just too much of a bargain, I think. However, if we don't go for Diogo Jota, we could go for Riyad Mahrez to target that Fulham game. At 8.2 million, he has just got a hat-trick in the last game against Burnley. Now, a bit of concern is that he's done so well in Game Week 10, a lot of people will bring him in, and then there's that fear of the curse of the most transferred in player blanking in the next game week. But 3 goals in the last 6 game weeks, although they were all against Burnley, of course. 16 shots, 9 on target, 11 from inside the box with 2 big chances. And expected goals at 2.31. What he brings that Diogo Jota doesn't have is more key passes with 13, but less big chances created with 0 and expected assists at 1.10. Now, Riyad Mahrez will probably only be a 1 or 2 game week punt for the fixtures, because personally, I worry way too much about Pep Roulette to put £8.2 million on another one of their players. But if I hear that he's likely to play, that Fulham game is a tasty one that I potentially would want 2 Man City options for. The next player we're looking at is James Rodriguez. Now, 7.9 million, not too sure about this one, purely because Everton don't look as good as they did at the start of this season, and Rodriguez has only just, to me, started to look back to his best after that little injury concern. Now, he looked good in the game against Leeds, unfortunately didn't get any points in that one, but I could be lured back into James Rodriguez if I have a feeling Everton could do well against Burnley. Now, 9 shots on goal with no goals scored, 5 shots on target, 2 from inside the box. He doesn't bring that much goal threat, but we know he's a quality player that can take his chances when he gets them. He's got 1 assist from 11 key passes and 2 big chances created. We expected assists at 1.31. But to be honest, he's probably under the pecking order of Mahrez and Jota for me for the next couple of games. And then finally, we're looking at Heung-min Son to target Arsenal at home. Now, Arsenal just don't look on it at the moment. They've just had a disappointing performance against Wolves and pretty much disappointing performance the last couple of game weeks. Meanwhile, Son and Spurs have looked good, and I just feel like in this fixture, Spurs are going to fancy themselves, and Son has got over the last 6 game weeks 3 goals from 10 shots on goal, 5 on target, 6 from inside the box, 4 big chances with 2.14 expected goals. He also has 5 key passes, resulting in 1 assist. Now, I think that Arsenal team is there for the taking right now, and now that Spurs have got the likes of Chelsea and Man City out of the way, I do fancy him against most teams in the league right now, and Son and Kane are definitely the ones to target in that side right now. And that is it for this episode of FPL Game Week 11 Team Selection. If you have enjoyed the video, please do what you guys have been doing, which is smashing that like button, hitting that subscribe button and hitting that bell for FPL. Your support has been fantastic this season so far, so please keep it up. And also check out Fantasy Football Hub in the description down below. If you sign up with them, it does support the channel out massively and gives you that information to help you get the best FPL rank you can get in the Fantasy Premier League. With all that being said, I've been JNO, this has been FPL Today, and hopefully I don't have to record this for a third time.